Guys, welcome to the Type Moon Universe fan panel. Thank you guys so much for joining us. All right, so I'm going to start off with a little bit of an introduction to what this panel is, and then we'll talk about what type moon is, and we'll find out what your favorite type of moon is. So, my name is Clinton Bradley. I actually did the very first Fate panel at this con 5 years ago in this very room when it was just the Fate panel. Did anybody go to that panel? Okay, probably not. But since then, I collaborated with a couple of other guys in Georgia, and we started doing Type Moon panels all throughout the Southeast. So this is our 12th panel in a row, and we've been doing this for about 5 years. I'm also sort of like the self-appointed manager of the official Southeast Type Moon cosplay group. So if you guys are interested in cosplaying from Fate or Tsukihime or any of those other things, definitely collaborate with us, because I can say without a shadow of a doubt that Type Moon has been one of the nicest, most accepting cosplay groups I've ever been a part of. It's fantastic. So what we're going to be doing tonight is we're going to do a brief overview of what Type Moon is and their works. We're going to talk about the current works that are out right now and the works that are coming in the future, because there's a lot of new stuff coming out. And we'll try to get through that as quickly as possible so we can move on to the stuff that actually involves you guys, the audience. So we encourage a lot of questions being asked here. And what we're going to do is, at the end of the discussion, I'm going to have you guys kind of line up at the mic and ask your questions. And if you ask a question we like, you can win a prize. So really quick, I just want to go over the prizes we have. Yeah. Okay, so our sort of consolation prizes, I guess you could say, are these Fate, sort of like mini art prints. They're like little cards almost. They're basically like little bookmarks with Fate artwork on them. There's 5 of these. You can pick one of your choosing whenever you ask a question that we like. And then you ask the best question, the one we like the most, you're going to win our grand prize.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah. So, for the mere price of asking a decent question, you can have Nero for one night. Just kidding. You'll get to take Nero home for good. So you'll actually get to win this Nero figure. This is a brand new Nero figure from Extella, and it's quite nice. We've actually taken a look at it. It's actually a pretty decent figure for its price. I definitely think you guys will appreciate this, considering that so much extra content is coming out this year within the extraverse of Fate. You get to come up. All right, so brief introduction about what Type Moon is. So who here has no idea what this is or anything that's going on? Raise your hand. Okay, you are in for a treat. So Type Moon is a company that makes visual novels, essentially. That's the easiest way I can explain it. There are the stories that are written within the Type Moon universe are all interconnected in thematic and setting ways, similar to like the Clamp universe is, if you guys are familiar with Clamp. So all of those works that are under the Type Moon universe are all written by a guy named Konoko Natsu, who we refer to as, that's why we refer to it as the Natsu-verse, essentially. So all of those works include the visual novels, Tsukihime, the short stories, Kara no Kyokai, Angel Notes, Fire Girl, things like that. And then the very, very popular, well, I guess it didn't start out so popular, but it's now pretty popular, Fate Stay Night. And all of Fate's additional properties are all part of the Natsu-verse, essentially. You got it? Yeah. So where are we at right now? Okay, so let's talk about the current works that are going on right now. So this year, you guys should be familiar with Things like Fate Stay Night, the visual novel, Fate Hollow Ataraxia, the visual novel, Fate Extra, the game, Fate Stay Night, the anime, Fate Zero, the anime, Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade Works, the anime, etc., etc. And Fate Grand Order, the mobile phone game with microtransactions. So, as for current works that are coming out, so who here, this is where we get kind of up to speed with what's happening right now. So who here has watched Fate Apocrypha Season 2? Really? Only a handful of you, okay. So, clearly I haven't seen it, right? So...
I know about it, I just haven't got to see it here.
Okay, well...
So I know everything that happened.
I would highly recommend watching it on the Japanese streaming service instead of Netflix. The dub is okay. It's not great. But essentially, I'm sure everybody has their own thoughts about Apocrypha. But going after Season 1, our basic criticism of Apocrypha was it's just ugly. And that's really a shame because, and it's not even comparing it to the other Fate adaptations which had Ufotable behind them. Apocrypha was animated by A1 Pictures, and it's just ugly. And it feels so rushed because between the time that it was announced to when it was completely finished streaming and on Netflix and everything was like 6 months. So that's really not a long development period at all. It really just feels like they pushed out Apocrypha really quickly onto us. Go ahead.
Also, since that's different from their normal studio, because the normal studio that they use is full table.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct. So, but I feel like, and this is just maybe a personal opinion, but I feel like Apocrypha's animation doesn't hold up, even if you don't compare it to Ufotable, because I personally feel like some of the corners they cut, and when we get into Season 2, they actually brought on some different animation directors for Season 2 to kind of make things look a little bit better, because I feel like they were worried that the series' reputation was at stake at that point. But frankly, there's a lot of scenes in Season 2 that almost look worse. It almost looks like they got animators from Studio Trigger in there to do certain scenes. If you see like the fight between Jean and Atalanta or Siegfried and Karna, it goes full Studio Trigger on us, and it looks ugly. So I really would prefer that A1 Pictures not touch Fate again with a 10-foot pole. But that being said, I don't really have that much animosity towards Apocrypha. I really do enjoy the series, but you have to understand that you have an anime adaptation of a story that's very hard to adapt, because you have a light novel series that is very much the same type of. Go ahead, Caleb.
Buddy, Studio Trigger, do you mean Studio Dean, or is that actually something called Studio Trigger?
There's actually a studio called Studio Trigger. The ones that animated Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, etc. Yeah.
I was asking because I know you guys have animosity towards Studio Dean because of what they did with Fate Stay Night.
Oh, I never said anything about Studio Dean.
That explains everything.
So take the Jean Atalanta fight from Season 2 of Apocrypha and compare that to Kill la Kill. You'll see what I'm talking about. Same kind of weird animation style. So anyway, you are taking a story that is very much has the same tone and style as Fate Zero, but you have twice as many characters. So Fate Apocrypha is just difficult to adapt no matter what. And as somebody who really likes Apocrypha, it is unfortunate that it got the treatment that it did. But I think we can just be grateful that we gave it enough attention to give it an anime adaptation in the first place, right? Especially because those people on the other side translating those light novels for us were taking forever to finish. Okay, so who here has seen the first part of the Heaven's Feel movie? Okay, a few people got to see it. So the Heaven's Feel Part 1 movie, animated by Ufotable again, aired last November. It had a very limited screenings, and if you haven't seen it, definitely seek out maybe some sites online that have it. The Blu-rays come out in May, but I'm sure they're going to be very expensive. But it looks like, aside from a few little nitpicky things here and there, we're getting a pretty faithful adaptation of Heaven's Feel. So that's going to be really good. Who's familiar with the Lord Elmaloy case files? Anybody? Okay, a couple people. So the Elmaloy case files are getting a manga, and a couple of chapters have been released online, untranslated, and it looks really good. The animation is really good. There's a nice frame in the first chapter that shows It's almost like a flashback to Fate Zero. It shows like all the Zero masters and servants, and it's just a beautifully drawn frame, and it kind of sets up that like who Waver is as a character and why that setting is so interesting. So really looking forward to how the Elmwood case files are going to play out when we finally get those manga chapters translated, and maybe they'll do an actual English release. That would be really cool. Okay, so we also recently just got a brand new Granddaughter Ova that aired in December, I think, right around New Year's, and it kind of picks up where the other one left off and continues the story a little bit. So definitely check that out if you were a fan of the Granddaughter First Order OVA. Which, go ahead.
So it took place after the story finishes in the Japanese version. That's why I kind of tried to say based on it. Does it actually not take place? It won't spoil the game?
I don't believe so. I don't think it spoils anything from the game, if I understand correctly.
Okay.
Now, we will get to some new Grand Order content in a little bit, but that OVA shouldn't be a spoiler at all. But it's essentially just, it looks like what they're probably going to do is one Grand Order OVA a year, and just keep that same formula going until they've adapted all of it, probably. Not too much of a fan of that, but we'll get to that.
Reports.
紹介するよ。こいつが僕のサーバント。僕はサーバント同士の戦いが見たかったんだよ。
あれから10年か。予想より早く始まったな。
さて少年、決断を聞こう。
10年前の災害の原因が聖杯戦争だって言うんだ。戦う。マスターとして戦う。
Okay, what questions we have about the present works that have come out? Basically, this is a recap of what's happened between the last several months. What questions do we have about that before we move on? Yes, sir?
What do you feel about the Fate Stay Night cooking anime that they announced?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. We will get to that. So, yeah, I'll get to that. We'll go back to that. Anything else?
What was the time frame? Say it again. What's currently in discussion?
Yeah, this is like what's been established, essentially. Any questions about what's already been established? Okay. So we're going to move towards the future. So last year the joke was we had all these announcements for Fate come out right at New Year's. So the joke, go back to the screen now. The joke essentially for last year was it was the year of Fate. So now the joke essentially is that because there's all this extra property coming out this year. So this is like Nero's year. She owns this year pretty much. So let's talk about some of the things that are coming out in the future. That's Elmola case files, in case you guys are wondering. It has fantastic art. Okay, that's the title for that Granddaughter OVA. If you guys are looking to watch it. Okay. Let's go ahead and play the trailer. Okay, so starting tonight, we are getting a brand new Fate anime. So we're getting Fate Extra Last Encore. So this has been teased to us for about like 2-3 years now, that we're getting a Fate Extra anime. So a couple years ago, there was a poll taken in Japan for like the games that Japanese audiences wanted to see adapted into an anime the most. The number 2 most wanted game that they wanted adapted into an anime was God Eater, and we got that anime. The number 1 though was Fate Extra, so we're finally getting that anime adaptation. It's unsure if this is going to be a straight adaptation of the first game or if it's going to take liberties and kind of interpret the story in its own way. Go ahead.
Do we know if it's going to follow just strictly Hero's path, or are we going to have part of the Combo's path, so maybe that'll be a second part?
That's exactly my point, is we don't know what direction they're going to take with it yet. The first episode has officially aired in Japan as of today. So when you guys get done here, I highly recommend logging on your Crunchyroll accounts and watching that if it's available. So it's going to be, this is animated by Shaft as well, so we're already getting much better animation than Apocrypha, and it really kind of brings that extra art style to life. I saw a brief clip of this earlier. There's a clip online of like when he first summons Nero. I watched that one clip and I was like, this is already a better series than Apocrypha, just in this one scene alone, just by the animation quality. So I'm really excited about this. So we're getting another anime adaptation that is, so the name for it is kind of, the name roughly translates to today's menu for Emiya family. Of course, that's probably going to translate in English to something like what's cooking in Emiya's kitchen or something like that. And essentially what we're getting is like a slice of life Fate anime where we're going to see like the average daily lives of the main protagonist from Stay Night, and it's going to be like a cooking show. I'm not even making this up. When I first saw the little preview for this, I was like, wow, they took arguably the worst aspect of the visual novel and made an entire series about it, and I'll probably still watch it. So what we're getting is essentially 15-minute OVAs, and we're getting one once a month. So we're getting essentially 15 minutes a month. So go ahead to the next slide. So it looks pretty great. I don't know if you guys can see that. Oh wait, that's the, oh yeah, I'm sorry about that. Next slide. Yeah, oh yeah, sorry about that. So this is what we're getting essentially. As you can see by the art style, it's essentially, I don't know who actually animated this. Anybody know who animated this series?
Believe it or not, it's, I don't know how you pronounce it.
Ufotable? Yeah, okay. So it honestly looks pretty good, and they're taking a lot of painstaking detail to like animate little details of the environment. Go ahead.
The first episode's on Crunchyroll, actually.
It is, you're correct. Yeah, you can watch the first OVA of this right now. Although, like I said, it's only 15 minutes, so you're essentially only getting like 15 minutes a month. Go ahead.
It might just be me, but it looks similar to the animation of the original Fate Night or Ufotable animation.
A little bit, except a little bit cleaner.
A bit cleaner,
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Just like the Drawdown.
Doesn't focus so much on like heavy dark atmosphere like Dean did, which I think is one of the strong points of that series, frankly. All right, next slide. All right, who here has played Fate Stella? All right, the majority of people. So no secret if you guys know me or know this content we do. I love Fate Stella to pieces. And so we got a little teaser around, October, November-ish last year that it was getting a sequel or like an expansion. We weren't sure exactly what it is. So we pretty much have confirmation now that it is a proper sequel. So it's going to be called Extella Link, and we finally have new servants that are confirmed for it. So it's going to be the same exact gameplay formula as the previous game. And it's going to feature every servant that was playable in Extella is going to be playable again in this, with additional improved graphics and character models. And we're getting a few new servants. So we're getting Astolfo from Apocrypha, we're getting Skaha from Granddaughter, and we're getting Francis Drake from Extra. And we're also getting a brand new servant who's never been seen in Fate before, which is a Saber class, and it's going to be King Charlemagne. which I'm pretty excited about because he has some of the same design sensibilities as Astolfo, but he's not Astolfo, so can't go wrong there. So we're getting that this June. It's been confirmed for PS4 and Vita, which are both region free. So don't wait for the English version if you really want to play it, because I know I won't be waiting for it. Although one of the things that is, who here has played Fate Extella on the Switch? Okay, a couple people. Sorry to say right now, there has not been a Switch version of Extella Link confirmed yet. So hopefully we will get that announcement soon, but so far there's been no word as to whether or not that's actually going to happen. Okay, so that is it for the upcoming Fate Works or Type Moon Works we have planned right now. There's a couple of running jokes within the community as to like things that we've been looking forward to for years. We have no confirmation as to whether or not they're happening, such as
Fate prototype adaptation.
I could care less about that. I'm more so looking for like the Tsukihime remake. When is that supposed to be happening? Or who's heard of Girls Works? Okay, one guy in the back has heard of Girls Works. So we actually finally got a little PV of like, that has been a running joke in this panel for years, is like, when is Girls Works? It's supposed to be like an original anime written by Nasu that we don't know what it's about or anything. It's probably like a slice of life show, but we finally got like a little PV for it around sometime last year, but other than that, we don't know anything about it. So hopefully we'll see that soon. So that's it for the actual, nice, that's it for the actual presentation itself. So time to open up the floor to questions. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have somebody run a mic out to you guys. I want you guys to kind of line up at the mic and ask your questions. And if I like the question, you guys are gonna get a prize. And the best question is gonna take home Nero. If we had more time, I would totally get it. But I just Okay, who's got questions? Go to the mic. Yeah, like come up and line up in front of her. We'll answer them one at a time. Oh, we'll trade mics. This works. Kind of. Yeah, stuff like right there at the, yeah, there you go.
Oh, okay. My question is...
Oh, hold up, what's your name?
Zachary.
Okay, Zachary, go ahead.
Out of all the Shiro Emios that are in all the canons, which one would be your favorite?
Which one is my personal favorite? Okay, so before I say which one is my personal favorite, I have to address the elephant in the room, which is the objectively best Shiro is Prelia Shiro, obviously, because he is like from essentially he's from a Grail War where he is lost, and his personal resolve and his drive is so much better than Fate Shiro. But my personal favorite is probably Unlimited Blade Works Shiro, because I like the idea of like self-improvement and like realizing that being an idealist, regardless of what you believe in, is inherently flawed within itself, which was a running theme throughout all of Zero, because everybody in Zero was an idealist in some way. And to see that kind of come around and bite Shiro in the butt, but like you kind of need to just kind of chill. Like that was to me my personal favorite. Although I give the hand to Prelia versus Shiro because he's objectively the best.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I was actually going to ask, when you're going over the stuff that recently, I was wondering why did you go over the movie one where it was about his story?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good call out. The Aprilia, I guess I should have written that in there. The Aprilia movie technically came out before all the things I had. Like, it came out before season 2 of Apocrypha, before the Heaven's Feel movie, all that. And we don't have anything. We didn't have any Western release for it. I do have a friend of a friend who's on the panel in Georgia. Actually saw it in Japan. He says it's really good, but I can't really speak on it beyond that.
I've seen a couple clips on YouTube and it looks amazing.
Oh yeah, it's good stuff. Thank you for your question, man.
Hello. Hello, my name is Caleb, and I have a question in terms of battle mechanics.
Okay.
Sir Lancelot Berserker versus Cuchulainn Lancer. Now, I'm pretty sure you saw me post this on the page a while back, but just for further elaboration. If Cuchulainn were to use Gay Bolg, like the anti-army version where he throws it, not the instant stab the heart version, with Lancelot's Noble Phantasm to where anything he touched becomes his, could he stop the spear if you were able to catch it?
I like where you're going with this. I really like where you're going with this. The only thing is, exactly as you phrased it, if he was able to catch it.
Yes.
Because they really emphasize this in some of the more recent adaptations, like the Heaven's Feel movie, is that Cuchulainn is brutal. And his Noble Phantasm is brutal and very difficult to stop. So I personally feel like if they were in a straight, and I don't know if it's explicitly stated anywhere, if Lancelot's ability to, it's essentially it's weapon mastery. Like anything he touches, he can make a weapon that he can master. I don't think that would allow him to control an enemy's Noble Phantasm.
I'm not asking if he could control the Noble Phantasm Gay Bolg. I'm saying if it's coming right at him, could he stop the spear?
I personally don't feel like he could.
Even though he was able to catch all those Gate of Babylon weapons in Fate Zero.
Yeah, because I just feel like Gay Bolg is that strong.
It did shatter the Roias.
Yeah, exactly. But great question though. Like, it really does. I love like extrapolating on Lancelot's abilities because it's really fascinating to me. What's your name?
My name is Dewey,
Okay.
and my question is focused on like the continuation of the Fate series. Now that we're finally hitting the Heaven's Feel route,
Uh-huh.
how do you think it's going to go with like? Do you think they're going to do more like game adaptations, make like anime series based of it, or continue like First Order into like Granddaughter singularities, or like do you think they're just going to drop it and do other projects after they finish the Heaven's Feel movies?
It's really hard to say. I feel like they're going to continue to milk Grand Order for as long as they possibly can. And I don't like the fact that I have to give that answer, but I'm pretty certain that's what they're going to do because I almost feel like Nasu at this point is kind of how like George Lucas was with Star Wars, where he's like, well, I don't have to write anything new because I can just keep releasing, Grand Order and keep making money for the rest of my life. And it's the same thing as like, Lucas did with Star Wars. The only difference is every new iteration of Grand Order, every new story, every new singularity is written usually by him. So he's actually participating in creating new content within Fate, but he's not sitting there being like, I want to write a brand new visual novel. Like the last new visual novel that typed in release was Maho Tsukai no Yoru in 2012, and it's still technically within the Tsukihime content. So it's not even really a new property. Personally, what I would like to see, something completely different within the Nasuverse that's not Fate or Tsukihime. Or like maybe something that deals with like the Notes timeline, that far future like apocalypse world that's in Angel Notes. But as far as what I think is plausible, I really think it's much more likely that they're just going to continue to pump more storyline into Grand Order and continue to adapt from that because it's just an endless lifeline of money for them. But thank you for your question, though.
My name is Thomas.
Hey, Thomas.
I'm fairly new with anime. I started about a year ago.
Uh-huh.
A couple friends just told me to start getting into Fate.
Okay.
I've seen bits and pieces of several of the series, like W and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look online, I'll ask my friends, and I cannot get like a concise answer of where do I start.
Where do you start?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's always a very controversial question. And we have a Discord that goes with our cosplay group. And if anybody's interested in joining the Discord, just let me know. I can hook you up. But essentially, like, I get people that go back and forth about this all the time. My personal recommendation is a controversial one I don't think a lot of people will agree with. I always will recommend watch the anime adaptations in order of their release. So watch the D anime that nobody likes, except for me. Watch the Aluminum Blade Works movie. Watch Zero. Watch Aluminum Blade Works the series. So on and so on and so on. Watch everything in the order of its release. Because And people will talk bad about Dean and things like that. But if you've seen all of Dean and then you go into Zero, you appreciate Zero so much more because you see what they do with that scenario and all that established lore of how the Grail War works is already set up for you. So that's my personal recommendation: is watch Dean movie, Zero, UBW the series, and just whatever you want after that. If you have the ability to play the visual novel, go for it. But the problem with that is nobody in this room, unless you bought a physical copy, paid money to play the visual novel. You pirated it. Because there is no official English translation for the visual novel. And I think at this point, one of my biggest frustrations with Type Moon is they haven't just released a PS4 and Steam version of the visual novel. Because at this point, Fate is mainstream enough where they could do that and it would sell. There's no reason why they haven't done that yet. And I really wish we could get that.
That was part of my other question. How about like the other series? I know from what I've heard, like Apocrypha's not entirely canon to like the Stay Night. So is that how it works? It's just kind of still in the same universe.
Yeah, it's just an alternate timeline. It's a parallel timeline to Stay Night, and it basically has everything to do with my character essentially. Like the fact that my character existed in the Third Grail War has everything to do with Apocrypha happening instead of Stay Night happening. And I won't say anything else because it's spoilers. So, but thank you for your question.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Carter.
Hey, Carter.
Hey, I don't have so much a question, I guess, as just a little funny story to tell.
Uh-huh.
So I got into Fate maybe 5 or 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And this semester at school, I took an art history class. And at one point during the class, my teacher Googled Nero because she was looking for like examples of like busts, like ancient Roman busts and stuff. And like, I kid you not, the fourth image was Nero Claudius. And she said, what is that? Why is that there? And like, I guess she could smell blood because I was the only person in the room who knew about it. I said, I know. And no. And I said, so it's this game, okay, where there's these it's kind of like Highlander, where they summon like these ancient figures to like fight for them. And she said, but why is he a girl and why does she have big boobs? And I was like, I don't know. And anyway, I just had to tell her to like watch Fate Zero or something on Netflix. Yeah. And surprisingly, she liked it. So
I could just imagine how that conversation would go. Be like, yeah, Nero's actually a woman, and she fights Robin Hood and Dracula. And
I had to kind of explain like all of that, and she said like as a historian, it makes her mad, but yeah.
Oh yeah, if you're big into history, Fate will either fascinate you or straight up piss you off.
Oh yeah.
And like Granddaughter compounds that problem a lot because some people will like draw the line at certain like gender bends or adaptations. Mine is Nobunaga. I like her in terms of like, hey, it's Nobunaga in Fate, but I'm like, okay, of all the gender bands, I draw the line at Nobunaga. Like, hashtag not my Nobu, essentially.
But yeah, that was, I just wanted to share that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Hello, my name is Darius.
Hey, Darius. King Darius III.
Alright, so I actually got two questions to ask.
Okay.
So the first question is, let me start off by saying that I've been playing Multi-Blood for like the past 2 years.
Hey, that's what's up.
Alright, so when I watched that trailer in the beginning, I actually saw Carnival Phantasm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting there thinking, how did they compile all of the characters, like, mechanically inside that same game or the same universe, essentially, across several series?
Have you gotten the opportunity to watch Carnival Phantasm yet?
Well, I'll watch the first few episodes of it.
Okay. I mean, because the whole series is for laughs, they never really go into a canon explanation as to how it's done. However, as far as Melty Blood specifically is concerned with Carnival Phantasm, the melted, like, what is it, Scion is the character of Melty Blood? The girl with the pink braid? She only shows up in like one or two episodes of Carnival Phantasm. So it's mainly just the Tsukihime characters, pre like Melty Blood timeline. Does that make more sense?
Oh, okay.
So like the beach volleyball episode is clearly a Melty Blood reference because it's a one-on-one fight kind of thing like Melty Blood. Like it's clearly a reference to that. But other than that, they only really reference Melty Blood when Scion is there. The rest of the time it's just Tsukihime timeline, Shiki and all that, and then the fake characters. So they don't really worry about like, okay, when canonically would this Shiki actually know Scion, things like that. Does that kind of answer your question, or?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, definitely if you have the opportunity, watch the rest of Chrono Phantasm because it is if you know at least a little bit of both series, it is definitely a treat.
All right, now the second question.
Umu. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Roya, and
Sorry, what's that?
Roya.
Okay.
Yeah, and Rin or Sakura.
So
There's a right answer here. Depending on what you say, I'll be very pissed.
okay, so full transparency. The other fake cosplay that I've done from 2011 up until now is Archer. So I obviously have a soft spot for Rin. But if you've played through Heaven's Feel or if you've seen the Heaven's Feel movie, how can you not fall so hard for Sakura?
I'm throwing a chair.
Like,
Fuck you!
so I think personally I'll always default to Rin, but they really did a good job of making Sakura as endearing as possible in that movie. And I had some people that actually got really pissed off because they didn't realize that Heaven's Feel was Sakura's route, and they don't like Sakura, so they were like, "Oh, this movie is not Sakura." Like they just got really upset about it. So that's basically my opinion about it. A great question, though. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Chu Ten,
Okay.
and my question is, how do you think the justice of Emiya Kiritsugu, and do you think that justice is just too ideal, childish, or if you were him, you'd also make the same decision?
That's a fantastic question. I actually relate quite a bit to Kiritsugu in that regard. I feel like that sometimes, I guess it's like the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few argument. And that essentially is the paradox that the Grail presents him at the end of Fate Zero, where they essentially say, you will do this because you're morally obligated to do it every time. And he's like, I don't believe that. But again, I feel like going back to what I said earlier, this may have provoked your question, I'm not sure, but idealists are inherently flawed because they're an idealist. They're so narrow-minded in that belief that they tend not to see outside of that. But I definitely think that Kiritsugu and some of the end justify the means things is relatable. So I think if I were put in this situation, especially considering like his upbringing, his environment, I would definitely not put it past me to make the same kind of decisions. So I really empathize with Kiritsugu and the fact that all of Phase Zero's story is implied to be a tragedy. So it's that he meant well. And he did everything in his power to try to make that situation play out better, but in the end, it was just not meant to happen for him. So if that answers your question, I think I would probably, if I was in his situation, I would probably make the same decisions. Thank you.
Reason my wife who does get very triggered, obviously, as I should.
All right. Did you roll for Ishtar and JP?
Let's not talk.
Okay.
I don't have JP, but I'm all North America. December can't wait.
All right.
But just that's away. First got multiple questions, and I got a fun story about Saul going in order and a bank account that died. But that's besides the point.
Okay.
So as far as questions go, I know I mentioned earlier about Nasu, more so type milking money off Grand Order. Understandably so. But one thing that is surprising me is some of the lack of localizations. Because look at the the Aniplex team that's localizing Grand Order here in North America. They're made of, and I mean this literally, 3 people.
Wow.
I met with Albert at, they did a panel at AWA, and it's pretty much just 3 people. They're doing the whole show. So in case you're wondering about any things like
Their panel was the same time as my panel.
oh, that was that panel. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Hey, they get us St. Courts.
Good for them.
But that aside, they've shown that they can handle doing localizations.
pretty small amount of manpower and probably not a whole lot of money being fed into it.
Okay, that's very commendable.
What's kind of been wondering, you already mentioned it, what's been holding them up will never releasing a Face Day Night, Untitled Chapter localization, because I also believe the demand will probably be there. Part of the thing that's kind of crossed the mind and maybe the reason they have is because, let's be honest here, it's probably one of the most easily accessible games on the internet when it comes to piracy. And Beast Slayer did a pretty damn good job.
Right.
And maybe that's something they're looking at, but at the same time, they could make pretty good money off it. It also leads to Hollow Deroxia. Well, they not pull the trigger on that. And also, this one has no, I don't think this even has a translation extra CCC. We
Correct.
haven't heard a thing about.
Yeah, we don't have a full, like as far as fan translations go, I'm pretty sure we don't have a full translation for
I don't know
CCC
a
yet.
single one. Has Fate Zero even been translated actually? I don't know.
Oh, the light novel?
Yeah.
The light novel is actually getting an official English release.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least they're getting to that, but also Mahatsukai no Yoru has nothing.
Yeah.
And
actually,
also, of course, the inevitable Tsukihime remake, Somebody Kill Me Now.
Yeah. I actually think that one of the, and I could be wrong on this, that one of the people who is translating the Apocrypha light novels stopped so they could start translating Mahoyo. But I'm not 100% sure about that. But anyway.
Someone was translating it. They get about 5 chapters in, and they just dropped the project. They just
that sucks.
But this is a while back, so I don't know.
So my thing about the visual novel, again, is that if you look at the PS4 and the Vita and Steam and things like that, you see a lot of visual novels. So we have, just on the PS4 and Vita alone, we have Steins Gate, we have Danganronpa, we have Psychopaths, we have all these other visual novels, and I'm like, there is no reason to me why we can't have one of the most successful visual novels in Japan. There's no reason why you couldn't have just taken the Vita and the Vita versions of Rialto Nua and Hollow Deroxia and package them together on the PS4 and release it in English. You just have to translate the text. Not even in English voiceovers, just the English text. That's all I need. I don't care if it's a 17-year-old game, So it's so easy to me. Like, we know that there's other games in the genre that are selling. It would be such an easy and cheap localization to do, and the market is there for it, especially when you consider the amount of money that Granddaughter has made. So to me, I don't see any reason why they haven't done it yet, or why they shouldn't do it.
Do you think we could realistically expect some of those? Maybe in like the next, I don't know, say 5 years?
Realistically, it would actually come as a surprise to me. I think it's more plausible to assume that they won't, as much as I would like it.
PTSD speaking, or just realistic expectations?
Yeah, I agree there. Yeah, I hope to see the Tsukihime remake, but there's been.
I also want a Ferrari.
Right, exactly. All right, thank you so much, man.
Real quick, I'll just share a story.
Okay.
Shut up. Good friend of mine, gonna keep on, obviously not mentioning, not that it matters. He plays JP, and basically what happened was we were talking a couple nights ago about whales and dolphins and whatnot.
CGI dolphins?
Yeah, something like that. So this one guy recently, I think it was a Tamamo banner, was the cause of this. Dropped 1,500 in a single day, pretty much, and no fox life to be seen. My friend commenting about this said, yeah, he spent a fifth of what I did in 2 years. I do the math real fast. So if you feel like you're a whale, just realize that there's someone out there who spent $7,500 on Granddaughter in a 2-year time span. You're not a whale. We're all algae, at best.
Wow, $7,500? Wow.
Yes.
So you're like, literally, if people are putting that much money into it, like, that just compounds the thing about the visual novel. Like, just release it. There's no reason why they can't.
You support the server.
Thank you, man.
Greetings. That's my voice going in.
Mike is a little bit weak, so it's okay.
Fair enough.
What's your name?
Oh, yes. We'll go with Hans. That's what they call me on the Discord.
Oh, hi, Hans.
Yeah. Hi. Well, a sad story about you later. First off, what would you do if you saw your stepbrother in the hallway?
If I saw my stepbrother in the hallway?
You know, the guy, the really depressed looking Catholic man, dressed in black robes.
Oh, Kirei?
What would you do?
I think I'd hand him some of these. And yeah, and I think I'd be done with, I might eat some mapo tofu with him and just have a good time. Yeah, big fan of the guy.
But the more serious question is, And it's a point that I brought up in the Grand Order was that the very nature of the conflict doesn't make much sense at all.
In Grand Order?
Yeah, when it says, okay, summon 7 spirits and they're supposed to fight each other, but why would they fight each other? And then it's revealed that the original reason was that there would be some sort of massive threat that would threaten all of humanity, so you summon your 7 best people to fight it. Where's that story at? Where did that come from?
Yeah, and I feel like that, so that would be really interesting, but I feel like, the Nasuverse already has like an equivalent to that almost. Like, why did mankind, when did mankind necessitate a countermeasure to world-ending threats? When counter guardians are a thing, and they do that already for us. Every time it seems like, if there's a world-ending threat, somebody like Emiya is going to just bounce in and your problem is solved. So why did we establish an entire organization to protect against world-ending threats? I'm sure there's a deep-rooted lore reason for it. It's probably just not something I've been privy to, but a great question. Like I said, I think it, like I said, the nature of the conflict itself does kind of it kind of goes away from the origins of what the Holy Grail War was about. Would you have something to add to that?
You're halfway blind, so we got 2 minutes.
Okay. So we're gonna have to call it there on questions, and we're gonna go ahead and get out the prizes. Yeah, I'm like blind out of this side, so all right. So let's go ahead and give out the prizes. Okay. Was it Daewee? Was that the guy with the Pikachu shirt? Is that right? You're taking home Nero. Congratulations. Everybody give him a round of applause. Whoops. Yeah. She is assemblable? Is that the right word? Constructible? Yeah. All right. Enjoy. Thank you so much for your question. And then, who was it that asked me about the Kiritsugu thing? You get a prize as well. Come on up. You can just pick whichever one you like. All right. Zachary. Is that all right? You get a prize. Darius. You get a prize. Let's see. That's 3, right? So 2 more. Go up. Is that everybody? All right. Carter. Is there a Carter? Okay. And then. Okay, and then Caleb. All right, thank you guys so much for coming to the Type Moon Universe fan panel. It's been a real pleasure. Like I said, if you guys are interested in Fate, especially Fate cosplay, get with me on the sidebar conversation. You guys can join the Facebook group and the Discord, and I really appreciate doing this with you guys. We'll be back at MomoCon doing the same panel and at Wicked Atlanta as well.